From tugboat cook to James Beard award-winning chef, John Currence is chef owner of 4 unique restaurants in Oxford, Mississippi, in addition to the fast-growing chain Big Bad Breakfast. Join Stacey Bayless, contributing editor for Nation's Restaurant News, in the MenuMasters Spotlight episode where she is on site in Oxford with Chef Currence to reflect on his journey and gain insight into the passion behind his work. MenuMasters Spotlight is brought to you by Ventura Foods. Together, we make food extraordinary.
I'm Stacey Bayless, and I'm here in Oxford, Mississippi with Chef John Currence, chef owner of City Grocery Restaurant Group and the Big Bad Breakfast chain. John, thank you so much for sitting down with us.
Come on, couldn't be happier.
Excellent. You have a really interesting journey to becoming a chef. I'm wondering if you could share with us a little bit about how you got started, why food is important, what brings you into the business.
So I'm born and raised in New Orleans. You know, food is weirdly sort of a birthright in New Orleans, and you either participate and love it, or at least when I was a kid, or you were exiled pretty much. You know, we had big Sunday suppers particularly at my maternal grandparents' table, and you know, and ate food out of the garden that we were picking and processing, you know, every day all summer long when I visited with them. But you know, I really got cast into it accidentally when I graduated from high school. The morning after I graduated, I had a job as a deckhand on a tugboat in the Gulf of Mexico. And when I arrived at the tugboat the morning after I graduated from high school, I was greeted by the captain and informed that I was going to be the cook. But he gave me a copy of The Joy of Cooking and said, I'll order groceries, and you know, when the groceries come in, you look in the sack, and if there's chicken comes in, you know, look in the index and find a chicken recipe, you know, and cook that and put it on some rice, and everything will work out. And so I spent that summer on that boat, you know, working in that you know, in that galley kitchen where everything was within reach, and cooking 3 meals a day for, you know, about 10 guys. And but when I picked up and moved down to Chapel Hill and enrolled at UNC, I found myself in need of a job to like really support myself. And a bunch of my friends were working at a restaurant there that they encouraged me to come and apply for a job. And you know, it turns out that restaurant, Crook's Corner, at the time, unbeknownst to me, was sort of fulfilling its legacy as the restaurant that was legitimizing Southern food in the minds of the New York press, you know, and the rest of the country for the first time. So, you know, that really sort of cemented my interest and love for it. My chef, Bill Neal, took me under his wing, and you know, ultimately I moved back home to New Orleans, sort of at the request of a high school friend that was opening a restaurant in the neighborhood that we grew up in, called Gautro's. We opened to incredible reviews, packed house every night. We received the quickest 5-star rating that the restaurant had ever been given in New Orleans. I remember watching a plate that I had made go out into the dining room and peering through this diamond-shaped window in the door, and remember this, you know, watching this plate put in front of someone and having them take a bite of what I had put on that plate, and you could immediately gauge the reaction to what they were eating. So it was that moment where I, you know, really understood how much I was fulfilled by, you know, a feeling of immediate gratification, you know, watching someone's, you know, emotion register, you know, when they tasted something that I'd made. And that was something that, you know, sort of cemented for me that this was what I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
So, John, what's bringing you the most satisfaction in what you're doing today?
When we turned 30, a year and a half ago or so at City Grocery, to look back over the staff and see how many people had been with me for over 20 years.
It's amazing.
And it was just astounding to me. You know, there was and so, and I went back further. I was like, well, how many have been with us for 10 years? And that number was staggering. And, that to me is the greatest satisfaction that comes out of this. And at 31 years, we're now logging children of original employees that that are working with us now because their parents have remained friends, and they want their children to have the same experience that they did, when they were in school here, and they trust us, and that trust is the other thing that is really is not discussed enough, in the life of a restaurant, earning people's trust, whether it's through your food or the environment that you create, the culture that you have, and that's another of the incredibly satisfying things, that makes this crazy, weird, wonderful business the thing that I love more than anything in the world. I can't imagine doing anything else.
Well, it's the thing that seems to be that through line for you is this sense of a nurturing community, and whether that's your place here in Oxford or in other communities where you're putting new restaurants, the culture and community inside the restaurant, which is ultimately all about getting that nurturing to the table and to your customers.
Right.
If you could think of something that you wish someone had said to you, a piece of advice when you were first starting, 32 years ago, when you were first thinking about coming to Oxford, is there something you can think of that you wish you had known or that someone had said to you then that you ultimately had to learn for yourself?
It's okay to have expectations. You should have expectations of people, but don't have unreasonable expectations, right? I always knew that I could never expect anyone to care about the restaurant, as much as I did, right? But I did always hope that we could inspire people to care about the quality of the product and the service that they were delivering, because we gave them that much sort of ownership in what they did every day, and so I one of the best pieces of advice that I ever got from my dad was one night over the evening news as Nixon was coming apart, that over his second or third drink of the night, sat with me and said, "I want you to look at the screen, because what's happening right now is that a man who could have been one of our greatest presidents, his administration is coming apart because he surrounded himself with terrible people." He said, and you have to remember, you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. And and while I was 8 or 9 years old when he delivered that message to me, and it's not something that I filed away or it changed my life, it is something that stuck with me once I opened, and and I've been enormously lucky that that I have people in my midst, like Meg Anderson, who's our ops director, and Vishwesh Bhatt, who's one of my dearest friends in the world, and a chef that I admire deeply. That they are two of hundreds of people that that have given us the ability to build these places that people are so fond of.
Yeah. Well, I think, one of the wonderful things is that you have consistently now for over 3 decades been a culinary leader, but also a leadership leader and a thought leader, and you have established things in your restaurants that set a high standard, and people that come out of your kitchens, even if they don't stay with you and they go elsewhere, they take that vision and that culture with them, and that is a legacy that goes well beyond even all the tremendous success that you're having with all your restaurants and with all the growth and expansion that you're having. So John, we're sitting in the flagship Big Bad Breakfast. I know you're opening now, I think your 20th location, beyond that, what's next for Big Bad Breakfast?
What I want to do is see how far we can take it before, it gets to be, bigger than we're capable of managing. At the same time, I know if my wife was here, she's made fun of me for, I don't know, 17 years now, because, as she says, every time I get a craving, we open a new restaurant. And so, I do have a couple of things in my back pocket that I want to do. I have projects that I'm working on. I'm extremely excited to be partnered up with a fellow named Anthony Valinotti, who's a Brooklyn native that found his way to Hot Springs, Arkansas, making some of the best pizza that I've ever eaten in my entire life. And so we've partnered up, a group of us, and are about to go to work on opening a place in Little Rock, Arkansas, for him. And beyond that, I think it's whatever my next craving is. I'd very much like to get the retail component to Big Bad Breakfast turned on. We want to get the bacon out in retail. We want to get our sausage out in retail, our jellies and jams, our hot sauce, are things that we'd like to see out there. And so, that's again, another enormously exciting piece of this, because, all of a sudden it's another facet to this industry that I love, that I know nothing about, and I'm going to have to figure out and learn as we go forward. But fortunately, I have unbelievable partners to help me down that road.
Well, John, we are all very grateful that you are doing what you're doing and that you took the time to sit down with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure talking to you. I'm Stacey Bayless for Nation's Restaurant News. Thanks for watching.